nothing. You are nothing. And you will never be anything. Never.
Colin.
Anybody know who you are? You miserable, presumptuous, no talent. You obviously don't have the talent.
And Mike, the Ape Man.
You are everything that's gone wrong in this world. You are self-consumed, no talent, mediocre piece of shit.
PTR Radio.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, with a rare Wednesday appearance, we're back. After a little bit of a break, Colin had to go explore our 49th state. I think.
Yeah.
It was 49th, right?
Yes.
Okay. Who did we cheat out of land for that one? I think we got it for a song.
Russia.
Russia. Oh, good. I'm glad that we got we swindled those Ruskies.
Oh, the rain just started.
Did it? It hasn't started here yet. Nope, no rain yet. But it's a coming, I'm sure.
Yeah, it suddenly just came down like cats and dogs out there.
Oh. All right, folks. So this is PTR Radio. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for tuning in on an odd night. If you're not tuning in live, what are you doing with your life, really? I mean, there's nothing good on television, unless you're rewatching old shows, which is a favorite pastime of ours. But
Are you watching shows from
that's true.
countries?
Yeah.
Well, it's true. We are in that point where all the shows go on like summer break hiatus kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and most of them don't come back. So.
Yeah, Shaggy, I almost sent my condolences when I saw that Magnum got canceled. I'm sorry, dude.
Oh, my wife was pissed. She's like, "What do you mean they canceled Magnum?" And I'm like, you know what? The internet doesn't understand either. It's still one of the biggest.
Magnum got canceled, but Welcome to Flatch, which had essentially the same ratings as Magnum, was renewed.
Yeah, the the speculation out there on the web is that Magnum was too expensive to produce.
Not surprised.
That doesn't make any sense.
And so
listen, it's better than the excuse that was given by the CW for the cancellation of Legends of Tomorrow and that woman, the fact that we didn't want to rent the studio for another year. The lease was up on the studio, so we're going to cancel these shows.
Well, there's not really even a glimmer. I would say there is a twinkle, a minute pixel of light at the end of the tunnel. Is that
for which one?
For Magnum PI. Is evidently the showrunner is shopping that show around to other networks now that CBS has officially passed on it.
How many times?
Too many. Too many
doesn't work out.
Too many to count. Unless
doesn't
Netflix
work out
suddenly,
as well.
Unless Netflix says, "Hey, listen, we'll throw money at it," because their subscribers are going down.
Well,
they're in a bit of a free fall, as if you read the articles. Especially since as we kind of predicted, a lot of the places where they used to get content from have decided, hey, we're going to go out and do our own thing, and then we'll just jack up all the prices. And so this wonderful idea of cheap ways that you could stream the content, that goes away. And instead, we're just going to make you pay a la carte for every different thing because you like one or two shows from each location. So it's going to end up costing you more than if you were to just, buy it in bulk, which is, ridiculous.
Yeah, well.
But
y'all wanted to pay for channels a la carte for years. Like, why am I paying for ESPN 8 The Ocho when I only watch ESPN? Why are you making me pay for all of these other?
Well,
now,
for me, it'd be why am I paying for ESPN and ESPN 2 when really all I want is ESPN Ocho?
Yes,
I mean,
that's true.
I think if you gave people an option, they would say, I would rather just have ESPN Ocho.
Now, there's legit sports now that they could make the Ocho. Like, I did not know that there is a professional cornhole league.
Oh, yeah.
right? There is now also a professional league that is essentially it's hockey without hockey. All it is, it's fighting on ice.
Yep.
That is pretty much that's the Ocho right there. Pickleball could easily fill up half the day.
Now, I'm trying to see.
I don't know, man. Now is the time.
I'm trying to see. They had brought it back in 2021 on August 6th. I can't see yet if they're planning to bring it back for 2022. Because if so, we could be just a few short months away from Ocho Day. They should just call it Ocho Day.
8/8 should be Ocho. There you go. August 8th every year should be
8. Yeah, August 8th. Yeah. Watch 8 on 8/8. Hey, there we go. We got this figured out.
August 8th from 8 to 8.
Yeah.
Every year. That's Ocho Day. There you go.
Yep. Ocho Day. Oh, here we go.
Okay, ESPN, pay us $1 million for that idea. Thank you.
So,
no, we can't do that. We can't do that because ESPN is owned. Are they still owned by Disney? So that would cut into Colin's profit. So it's a conflict of interest. We can't do that.
At this point, Colin is owned by Disney. So
I don't own any Disney, so I'm okay.
I mean,
okay.
Colin has Walt's signature on his butt tattooed. He's kind of like one of those Cabbage Patch dolls.
I'm a little afraid to ask how you know that.
Well, I asked his mom.
Notice I'm not questioning whether it's true or not because that's not the part that would disturb me if it was. It's the question of how Shaggy would know that. That's the disturbing part.
I asked Mama Blair, and she said, "Yeah, when he came out, it was right there." Like,
come
Xavier.
on! Oh, when he came out, yeah, okay. Yeah. He was genetically engineered to have a Walt Disney signature birthmark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll buy it. Why not?
So,
speaking of Disney, I think we have to address the elephant in the room. Like last time, we kind of touched on like the newsworthy topics. I got to ask you guys. Are you Team Johnny or Team Amber? Or Team Don't Give a Damn?
Well, I'm not Team Heard the Turd, but I don't know that I'm Team Where's the Rum either. I can't root for either of them. That's the problem. Is I don't like either.
So I have to be honest that I'm shocked at how much publicity this trial is actually getting.
Oh,
because Johnny Depp was a huge celebrity. I get that. Amber Heard, not so much. Like I don't remember like Ben Affleck and maybe it's just because this is such a nasty breakup, but I don't remember any other breakup getting so much publicity.
I mean, well, this is not just a breakup. This is a slander and libel case.
Well, okay,
a defamation of character
that's true.
case. So,
really, what it's about is Johnny Depp trying to get his ability to be in movies back on track. So I think he possibly at least has managed to do that.
Somebody went into IMDb and changed her name to Amber Turd.
Did they really?
Yes.
I gotta go now.
I don't know that it's still that way, but it was that way on May 8th. Somebody screenshotted it.
No, it's Amber Heard.
Yeah, but
besides Aquaman, what has she been in that would make me even care about her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I believe the answer to your question there is nothing.
I'm sorry. She was in Zombieland, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. She was 406. I didn't know that. An alpha dog too? Interesting.
Well, bit parts don't really count, evidently in Friday Night Lights, and she was in the Elon Musk story, the real life Iron Man.
But
That's because she was dating Elon Musk at the time.
Ah.
Gentlemen, I know I'm jumping ahead, but she wasn't in what could possibly be the greatest movie ever made that we are going to have to review when it comes out. I don't give a damn if we have to pay for it. I was watching on YouTube the other day. There's like a channel that shows like new trailers that were released that week, and they kind of like, there's a movie coming out called Landshark.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw the trailer for that as well.
I don't care what it takes. This is jumping right to the front of the line when it's released.
Well,
this is right up our damn alley.
Yeah, and for those that are unfamiliar with the show, the last half hour of this 2-hour show is dedicated to movie reviews. We pick 2 movies that have been suggested by either listeners, Netflix, Amazon, whatever, that those platforms think we might be interested in because of our previous viewing habits, and we review them. Now, sometimes they're real movies, such as like Red Notice, The Atom Project, Thunder Force, etc. And sometimes they're really bad movies, like Cowboys versus Dinosaurs, or Badass on the Bayou, or whatever. So, what we're talking about here, Landshark, would be in that B movie category. That we're looking for those diamonds in the rough to tell you whether it's worth watching or not.
Or we're just torturing ourselves because there ain't no way in hell that's going to be a diamond in the rough. Okay, let's just get that out there right now. It's not.
Well,
it's not.
It's probably going to be along the lines of Five-Headed Shark, but or Toxic Waste Shark, or Raiders of the Lost Shark, or
Avalanche Sharks.
Yeah, Land of the Shark, or Avalanche Shark was great. I don't know what you're talking about. Later Hosted Zombies.
Shark in Awe.
Yeah,
I mean,
Santa Jaws.
There's going to be a Sharkano now.
But
read on Twitter about how an underwater volcano has the potential. It's in a known shark breeding area, and it could become a Sharkado. I said, the dude that did Sharknado was like, you just wrote our next chapter for us. Okay.
Yeah. Well, they actually had pictures of massive underwater volcano home to mutant shark. Yeah. The Cavici volcano. Yeah, there was a news article today. Mutant shark erupts in depths of Pacific Ocean. It's a real thing.
Why mutant shark? What? I don't. Do we want to go down this rabbit hole already? Good Lord.
Well, like your mutant shark movie, I also found one that I think we need to put on the books. That I didn't know existed before I came across it, and it was one that was related to what we were watching for this week, and it was. You know how we always love a superhero B movie? This one was Avengers of Justice Farce Wars. Okay? So this is... I don't want you to play, stupid.
You put this in the... Did you put this in the Slack channel?
Yeah, I did.
Because I think I may have looked at it and was like, I will fight you to the death here.
So... while trying to remain a good husband and father, Superbat and the Avengers of Justice come out of retirement to stop Dark Jokester and Lisp Luthor from freezing the planet.
No. This is like if Space Force met the Justice League, okay? This is way too much of a ripoff.
But we love
there's that, and then there's this, it sounds like we've decided this is going to be our first and last movie because we're definitely being canceled after releasing this.
It's got 3 out of 5 stars.
I don't care. We've watched a lot of stuff that's had 3 out of 5 stars that made me want to slit my wrist by the time we were done.
We've watched a lot of stuff that has less than 3 stars.
Okay, and that, again, that's trying to find the diamond in the rough. We're sadistic people. That's kind of our nature here.
Yeah.
One of our more endearing qualities, actually.
So, but anyway, along with this one, I found several others that I need to still put on the list. But folks, these are the types of movies that we investigate so that you don't have to. So anyway, but getting to other things that are on our white list. Talking about something which I saw, which is out, and at least episode 1 has been released so far. This is kind of we were talking about television shows. So this was an Indiegogo or something like that, and it was Mystery Incorporated. They kind of took a play from the people who did the Fresh Prince reboot, as if it was a true drama. And so episode 1 is called Welcome to Coolsville. And it's the synopsis is: the journey begins as Fred Jones sets out to investigate the creature who murdered his parents. His search leads him into resident skeptic Velma Dinkley, and the two must form a quick bond to fight back against the evil they have accidentally unleashed. All right, now in here, so episode 2's Indiegogo is currently taking donations, but I'll tell you what, this episode 1, which was 53.5 minutes long, was done really well. I actually watched this, and it's interesting their take on this. All right, now there's some weird points at some places, and it's definitely not your standard take on the characters, but it's a unique show. So if you haven't watched it and you're at all interested in Scooby-Doo or these weird riffs on old shows turned dramatic, this is one I would recommend that you take a look at. So if you were a fan of, what was the one that they did on the CW, Riverdale? Is that it? Where it was supposed to be Archie,
I think so.
Archie and Veronica. Yeah, that would be one. If you like that, you'll like this. Or if you like the Sabrina, the Teenage Witch that Netflix did, I think you would like this type of a take on it. So I don't know if you two have watched it or not, but it's
No, I knew it existed, but I am very flooded with television at the moment, so watching anything new is kind of difficult.
I know it is definitely a task to add anything new into the rotation. But like I said, I think they did a good job for an Indiegogo. They really did a decent job on this one. So I will be curious. I'm not curious enough to donate, but I am curious enough to watch. So
yeah. This is MasterChef Australia season, which means that because of my cruise, I believe I'm now currently like 12 episodes behind, and there's like a new episode happening every day. So yeah, I have a long queue of television to watch.
Well, and the good news, it looks like, is that their episode 2 had a original goal of 15,000, which is not much for an episode of television. They've raised 60,000, so they have far exceeded what their expectations were.
Hopefully, that'll get multiple episodes and not be, we're going to put all the money into episode 2. That'd be stupid.
Yep. So anyway, that is something really interesting to keep an eye on if you are into that kind of thing. So, all right, moving along. Mike,
I'm trying to think, because there was some other there was another show that I want to say just came out that I was very much getting into. But today has been the day from hell.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised that I remember to put on underwear this morning. So I may or may not be wearing pants right now. I don't know.
Oh my God! So we had this conversation at work today because a couple of days ago in the office, someone in our division, we noticed him walking around in shorts, and somebody said, "Well, can we wear shorts?" And I'm like, "No, we can't wear shorts." I'm like, "No, I don't know what he's thinking." And then I thought, well, wait a second. I see people over in the help desk wear shorts, and one guy wore sweatpants. And there's guys that wear graphical tees all the time over there because they're just slobs. I'm like, we do all of our meetings over WebEx. Nobody can see me below the waist except for the people here, and they don't care. Like as long as they're not short shorts or hot pants or whatever, I don't think it'd be a problem. I mean, now if you came to work in a Speedo, that might cause an issue. But as long as it was, kind of appropriate, I don't think where it would be a problem. And so we got to looking and found out that we don't officially have a dress code. It's
kilts for everyone.
So we got to talking today with the bureau chief, and he's like, "Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't really want to bring it up because then they'll probably want to enforce one. So right now, it's like." If it goes nuts, I may have to say something, but if it's like, every once in a while or, especially if it's like under the radar, then not probably going to say anything.
So shorts can easily get away with that as long as you're not wearing like Hooters shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it used to be like a good, if you were dealing with the public, you were supposed to be dressed nicer.
Yeah.
And if you weren't dealing with the public, not so much. And I'm at Department of Transportation myself, and Department of Transportation, that's Teamsters. They don't care.
Well,
but Shaggy, have you been to one of the Secretary of State offices recently?
No.
Okay. If you go to the Secretary of State, for those who aren't aware, it is our DMV. So we don't have a DMV, we have Secretary of State. But it used to be that you could easily tell the difference between the people from the customers at the DMV and the employees by how they're dressed. So now the way you can tell the employees from the customers is the people who are dressed nicely are customers, and the people who look like they just stepped out of a Goodwill, those are the employees.
Yeah. So I'm like, so it was just an odd conversation because I knew, I'm like, okay, if I just come right out and ask him, can we wear shorts? He's probably going to say no. So instead I grabbed the bureau chief. The bureau chief walked into my area and I said, hey, listen, I just want to tell you, we're in full support of the new dress code and, we're behind you 100%. So, we're really proud of your forward thinking and dedication and commitment to, employee satisfaction. And he just gives me this weird look. And I'm like, I knew that's what was going to happen. And he goes, did I make a decision on policy? I'm like, well, I assume so. For some reason, we didn't get the email, but we all recognize and really appreciate your forward thinking. And he goes, can you remind me what it was? And I'm like, yeah, shorts. We can wear shorts. And he goes, you see somebody wearing shorts? I'm like, yeah. Eric, a couple days ago. And he goes, oh, yeah, I did say something to him. He goes, and then I looked and found out we don't have a policy.
I'm actually, so for the first time in, years, I'm going to have to go to a face-to-face meeting in the office, and this is next month. And I'm like panicking because I have no idea what the dress code is. I have no idea. We got people coming in from out of state for this meeting. Like, I don't own a suit. Do I have to go get a suit for this stupid meeting? I mean, this is ridiculous here. I'm like paranoid about this.
Yeah.
If I had to go back to the office full time, I think I literally might have to invest in adult diapers because I just have this problem now of being around larger groups of people in an office setting. I came to the realization today that part of my job is that I have to swear a lot in order to be able to actually complete the work, because the level of incompetency that I've been dealing with since all the good people were forced out is ridiculous.
Yeah. I just like that. Somebody said there was a thread on, I think it was Facebook, said describe your job without telling what you do. And I put, well, according to my grandson, I write on the whiteboard and talk on the phone. So, so for you, Mike, you would say there's an inordinate amount of swearing.
There absolutely is. There absolutely is. Today was no exception. It got to the point now where I had to buy a new headset for the Zoom calls at work, and I don't trust the mute button on the headset. So I actually bought. Do I have the spare one here? You can't really see it, but it's like a.
Is it like an easy button?
Hell with it, it ain't hooked up. It's an actual switch for the USB connection, so I can completely turn off. Now I have to label. I got to go get the label maker, and I have to turn on and off. But yeah, I absolutely.
Yeah, I don't trust the mute on the microphone itself. I actually mute on WebEx, and do it that way.
The problem is if you do both, you could find yourself in an endless loop trying to figure out which has happened.
Yeah.
What I like doing in WebEx is using the space bar. So you hold down the space bar, unmute, and then you undo it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually like the old school Ventrilo where you had to push to talk, right? Yeah. So I probably should start doing that.
Yeah. I just, it's kind of nuts. All right, so
starting to learn that I just go ahead.
No,
I don't want to talk about work anymore. Go ahead.
All right, so you posted a note up about Apple discontinuing the iPod.
Yes,
and I know this directly affects you.
It does. So, I'm one of the few people that I still actually use an iPod in place of an iPod took the place of a CD changer in my car many, many, many years ago. And I still I went out and I bought my iPod Touch. Actually, do I have it in here? Yeah. So, my iPod Touch here, because however the charging or whatever, it wouldn't keep a charge anymore, and it wasn't worth it to try and go get the battery fixed. Now I may try and do that now, but I bought a new one. But I also have my old iPod Classic. This was the original one that I had hooked up in my truck, right?
Yep.
This one I've replaced the battery in once already. And I've looked up about replacing the hard drive with flash memory, which apparently a lot of people do. This I may actually be able to sell as is on eBay for several $100s now because people want the old standby technology. Because I guess this particular iPod has a much better digital to audio converter or DA chip than what they put into. Oh, you! I know you're not going to power up on me now. You've been sitting in the drawer for however long. I've had this thing hooked up to the computer, like you see the Apple.
Yeah.
I've had it hooked up like overnight, trying to get it to charge, and it wouldn't charge. That's why I wound up buying a new one.
Yeah. So
what did you just unbox?
So I just unboxed. So I have several laptops, but they're both long in the tooth, right? So I have one which I lovingly refer to as Hulkbuster because it's the one that you want when you get into a fight because it weighs about 10 pounds and has a built-in handle and it makes a really good weapon because it's essentially a Panasonic Toughbook.
I was going to say a built-in handle. There's only one type of laptop I know that has those.
It's a military-grade book. It was they were originally put out in police cars. So, in fact, except this one is actually from the Navy. So it's before Panasonic bought the design. And then I have another one, which is an old laptop that I bought probably 5-6 years ago. That it's a 17-inch laptop, so it's got a big screen, but it's not the fastest thing in the world. It's battery is going dead on it, as is Hulkbuster's battery is just completely dead, and it costs more to buy the battery than it does for the laptop. And and it blue screens all the time on me, no matter what. It was never designed for Windows 10 or 11, so it's just that the thing. So I needed a couple of laptops because I need to be able to reliably DJ when I need to. Okay, because I do a couple because one runs lights, one runs sound. Okay. And that way, if one of them ever goes out, I can put everything on one machine. So I have redundancy. There's a method to my madness. But I said, okay, I don't have endless funds. So I want the impossible. I want 2 machines for $1,000 or less total, which seems impossible. But I did it. I went $50 over, but I was close. And I actually wanted to buy a MacBook.
Oh, God.
So I bought a MacBook Air. I didn't originally want an Air. I wanted just a MacBook Pro, but the Air was a little bit cheaper. So it's a mid-2017 MacBook Air. So it's fine. It's going to run for, at least a few more years. It's got the battery on it's in great condition, and if I need to, I can always replace it. The 2 things you can replace on this model are actually the battery and the hard drive. Nothing else.
Okay.
But you can replace that. It's got 256 gigs of hard drive and 8 gigs of memory. So,
okay.
And it's nice. It's light. It's portable. Came with the charging brick, which is important because half the time they don't. And,
So what kind of ports does it have? Because that was the one thing that kind of deterred me from an Air.
So an Air has on this side here, it's got your combo headphone microphone jack, USB-A, MagSafe charging. Then on this side, you've got SD card, another USB-A, and a Thunderbolt 2 port, which would be your display port, and or you can plug in. Usually I would probably plug in a dongle, which would give me like another 2 USB-As and an HDMI out. And that's pretty much it. You don't get anything else. But I don't need much. I need power, and I need probably 1 USB out on this. So it'll be sufficient for my needs.
Well, that's true because you don't do the I got over here. So.
Yeah, because this is going to run lights. The application that I'm going to try and use the same application for lighting that my church uses, so that I can stay in practice by using it at the church all the time. So this was kind of like my idea was, hey, if I get something that the church uses, then I can keep my skills fresh. They won't deteriorate. So, and then I bought So this actually came 2 days earlier than I thought it was going to. It wasn't supposed to be here till Friday, so I was kind of surprised that it got here today. And then I bought it's called an Intel Whitebook with a 2070, an RTX 2070 graphics card in it. So, and that is plenty powerful from a graphics perspective. So if we ever got together and did a live show, I could actually do vMix from that machine. and we could do our video from that, as well as it's going to be one hell of a DJ platform.
Oh, Whitebook. I had never heard of such a thing.
I hadn't really either. It's probably just a Clevo with a different name on it, which is an OEM branding thing. So, but yeah, Intel Whitebook. If you look up Intel Whitebook, RTX 2070.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here.
There's probably a listing from Newegg.
So I found one on Amazon, and it appears that it is a rebranded Electronics, which is similar to Acer, Asus, or Electronics is actually rebranded Tongfang.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
But it's got
so it's like it's a competitor to Clevo. Yeah.
So it's got an i7 9750H. It's got 8 gigs of RAM on it, but I'm going to upgrade that right away. It's got 250. I think mine's got a 512 hard drive. If not, it'll get a 512 NVMe, and then it's got that RTX 2070. So, and it's got a 2-year warranty. So,
Well, the 2-year warranty is important. And you got that for, so both of those machines for?
Both of those for about $10.50.
A little over $1,000.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. I think I did good on pricing.
I'd say so.
So.
There you go.
Yeah, so I should be all set and ready to roll. Mostly because I'm DJing on July 3rd. My next gig's coming up then. I'm doing our fourth on the 3rd at the church. So I wanted to make sure that I had a stable rig for that event, and I needed plenty of time to get it configured. So, yep. So it should be fun.
All right, so now I have a question since we're talking laptops here, and Colin, I'm gonna lean on you here because you probably have more experience with this than anyone. Windows 11. I'm hearing not so good things about it as far like from the DJ type community saying don't do it because it's still buggy as hell. And if you're performing using a laptop, that's not a good thing. So I'm curious, one, Shaggy, if you've worked with it yet, and two, Colin, if you have any experience with it other than just a day-to-day operating system.
I have not used
it. It's my day-to-day, but my thing is that my laptop here that's running Windows 11 is a Microsoft Surface X laptop. So, well, it's running ARM, so it's a completely different animal anyway, but it's also a Microsoft product, so it should definitely be able to run Windows well. I haven't had any problems at all on my desktop, other than I'm still annoyed that I can't put my taskbar up on the side where I want it to be.
Yeah, I have heard. I have a few customers that have 1 or 2 machines that have it, and for normal desktop editing type stuff, they haven't had any complaints really, other than it is a little bit different than everything else. But, they haven't had too many issues. I am not running it myself just because there are too many tech sources that I listen to that say it's not ready yet. They aren't moving their clients to it, and they themselves are running it at home, but in still what they would consider a beta phase. They would not trust it in a production environment. And these are people that are running some of the latest hardware and overkill systems. The other thing that I don't like about it is its hardware requirements are pretty high. Their recommended specs, their minimum requirements are only going to be like, I think it's 10th gen and above for processors, which is going to generate a huge amount of used computers, because companies are going to be getting rid of perfectly working machines just because they don't meet the minimum specs for the newest operating system, which if there's a valuable reason for it, that's fine. But in this case, I doubt the reasoning for it. You know, I think they could have supported earlier machines than what they are. I think, you know, some of the requirements they have are being a bit too safe, a bit too, future-proof and a bit too cautious.
That also goes back to the days of, I mean, that's a lesson learned probably from the Vista days.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure they say, well, the majority of our support calls are because users have unrealistic expectations of the operating system on old generation hardware. You know, they're not taking into account that it's designed for newer machines, and, you know, it can't have the same response on a 10-year-old machine as it does on a 1-year-old machine, right? And I get that. I totally understand it, and I know where they would want to be able to say, well, listen, you're not within spec, so you're not going to, you know, we're not going to support you in that. I get it. I just think that we're generating a lot of e-waste, you know, because...
Well, I guess... I'll agree with you, Shaggy, once we get to a place where we start getting the things that require Windows 11. But
well, I mean,
so far, I have never found something that requires Windows 11.
No, but they are quickly... They're more aggressive on their timelines for displacing OSs than they had been before, and they're doing a much more aggressive job of getting people to upgrade than they had previously. Now that you've got all the hooks in the callbacks to the mothership and all this other stuff, like I just looked at a client's Windows 10 machine, you know, the other day, and it's like, okay, there's a lot more, and it's one where I hadn't tweaked it and put OpenShell on or anything. Boy, there's a lot more advertisements on that sucker than there used to be. You know, they're doing a lot more pushes to try and get you to buy crap. So, and I understand they gave you a free upgrade, so what do you expect? But, boy, it's annoying. So, you know, I can see, and I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. Old machines going for cheap on the internet because somebody's getting rid of them and upgrading their whole office, that's great for people like you and me who know how to install alternate operating systems and want a cheap NAS or something running at our house. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's going to result in a surplus of machines that are going to get either thrown into landfills or sent overseas.
I mean,
yeah,
Windows 10 is supported all the way to spring 2024.
Well, right, but that's only 2 years away.
I know, so I'm just looking at that going, okay, so by the time we get to spring 2024, and that's just, I mean, that's the current fall 2021 release. I haven't seen anything on if they're planning any more Windows 10 releases or not.
Well, when did Windows 10 come out? When was its initial release date?
Initial release, May 9th, 2017.
Okay, so they run 10-year cycles. Or at
I'm
least...
sorry. That was the July 29th, 2015.
Okay. So Microsoft has told us, at least, and I think it's pretty well documented, that they run 10-year cycles for support, right? So primary end of life is 10 years from release date.
Yep. So yeah, I would expect Windows 10 to go through 2025.
Right. 3 years. And I know a lot of corporate programs say that they're on a 3-year replacement cycle for their machines anyway, at least well-performing companies. Yep. But there's a lot of companies that aren't performing well right now, and so that's one thing they may decide not to do, you know. And I have told I've inherited companies where they're like, well, it's another year, so we need to replace X number of PCs. And I'm like, why? Why do you just need to spend that money? It's working perfectly well. Worst case scenario, swap from a physical hard drive to an SSD, and it's like a brand new machine. If it's working perfectly fine for you, why would you waste this money? You know, and I'm not, but then again, I'm a different type of company when it comes to computers. Actually, I'm not out for the almighty dollar. So.
Yeah, I'm going back because I know my laptop, I'm powering up here because I don't remember what gen i5 I have, but I literally replaced the hard drive with an SSD, and I cannot believe how much of a difference it made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people. I'm like, I had an entire company, an entire like 12 PC company that had bought Dells from the factory with spinning hard drives and 4 gigs of RAM. And they were trying to run Windows 10. They had upgraded from 7 to 8 to 10. And they're like, oh, it's so slow. We're going to have to get new machines. I'm like, wait a second. You never should have bought these like this in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go up to a minimum of 8 gigs of RAM, and let's get SSDs for all the machines. It's going to cost you $150 a machine, but they're going to run like brand new machines out of the factory. And the reality is, most workstations don't need more than 2 physical cores and 4 4 threads, 4 hyperthreads. They don't need anything more. And when you look at gigahertz to gigahertz, there isn't that much of a difference between then and now. Yes, the architecture's changed a little bit, the instruction sets have changed a little bit, but typical processing loads have not changed. All right. Now, if you get into scientific calculations or something like that, then yes, the optimization in those have significantly increased. But if you're looking at somebody who's just browsing the web, checking email, doing Excel, doing Word, that workload will not drastically get any faster if you're running a 6500K, 6600K, or a 12 series from Intel right now. It's not going to make that big of a difference other than in your pocketbook. So
Agree. And I'm running, my laptop's got a 6200U.
Yeah.
Which to run my DJ software is adequate, more than adequate.
Yep.
Yeah. My desktop has a extremely powerful processor and video card in it, because this is a gaming machine.
Mm-hmm.
This machine that I'm talking to you on is running an ARM processor. And this is a first generation Surface Pro X. I have no reason to replace it.
Yeah.
It just works. And has the best microphone array I've ever seen in a laptop.
Yeah. So as I tell people, it's all about what your needs are, whether you should upgrade or not. It's all about what your needs are. What's your needs? What's your requirements?
Nobody needs to see a space shuttle launch.
Oh, but I want to be in.
Nobody needs to go on a cruise to Alaska.
Yes, but Colin, let's talk about that. So you did go on a cruise to Alaska.
Yes, I did.
I'm going to mute.
And it was wonderful.
We're going to find out, do I have pants on or not? But I'll be listening.
Okay. Oh, he doesn't have any pants on. His ass is hanging out. It's terrible.
And thus we have learned Mike the Ape Man is really Mike the Smurf Man.
Yes.
He is half Smurf.
So Colin, you went on a cruise to Alaska, and
yes.
Did you get any Eskimo Nanuki?
Eskimo what?
Never mind. All right, because that would be the North Pole anyway. They don't have Eskimos in Alaska, to my knowledge.
But they're the Inuit, because Eskimo is cancelable.
Why is Eskimo cancel? I don't get that. Eskimo cannot be cancelable. I'm going to look up right now. Is Eskimo a derogatory term?
Yes. To them it is. It's Inuit. And yes, they would be in Alaska, because that is, there is no land at the North Pole.
It's only unacceptable because it was a colonial name imposed by non-indigenous people. So it's only because that's what the English called them. That's why it's not good.
Well, yeah, then we started calling things after it, like Eskimo pies and stuff. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all so. Yes.
I don't.
Royal Caribbean, Quantum of the Seas. Monday to Monday, went several places. It was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. I think the people who were yelling about cruise ships and COVID and saying these people are crazy to go on a cruise ship, blah, 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 they're obviously people who have never been on a cruise ship. Because that is the cleanest, safest place I have been, other than my own house, in a long time. It's like, at any point, you can step out of your door, and there's a very good chance that you will see one of the crew attendants walking down the hallway with rag, cleaning the bars, the handrails in the hallways. They were just cleaning all the time.
Okay.
Inuit. To answer that question, they're Inuit, not Eskimos. INUIT?
Let's not get into spelling.
They're not into it. They're not the tax people.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to call them Intuit people. Yeah, yeah. If they don't like people, if they don't like non-indigenous people giving them names, I'm going to start calling them the tax experts. All right? That'll teach them.
Do you eat walrus? I'm into it.
Yeah, you can get a deduction. So
horrible dad joke.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So you went on this cruise, which let's all agree cruises are romantic adventures. They're sailing the ocean to parts unknown.
Shag, I'll cut you off there. No, there is no romance happening between me and anybody else on this cruise ship. I'm sorry. I know this is one of your favorite things to fantasize about is my love life, but I'm sorry. There's just nothing there.
I mean,
Colin, I'm giving you a round of applause for cutting him off and smacking him across the face with that. Thank you. I'm much love, my friend.
I was just thinking maybe Isaac, was giving you a drink at the bar and said, "Hey, man, see that girl at the end? She's got the eyes for you."
Yeah, that would be Princess Cruises. I was on World Caribbean.
It's a hard time right now in the cruise industry. Maybe he's switched.
So so I'll go through some of what was on the cruise real quick. So the first night we had a comedian. I can't remember the guy's name. It's Steve something. I guess he's been on Comedy Central. Looked a bit like a homeless man. And I'll just say he was funny, and he was extremely dated.
Was he Steve Burr by chance?
No.
Was he Steve Whittley? Steve Kwitt? I'm just telling you all the Steves that have worked for Carnival.
Okay, where's my...
Steve Bruner.
Okay, if you're gonna actually
Cruise. All right, hold on. I got the roster. All right, so let me see. Steve. Well, there's a Stephen M Quizada, who looks like Cheech Marin. But that's the only Steve.
Day 6.
Name was.
Was it Scuba Steve?
Yes, was it Scuba Steve?
Anyway, so while I try to figure out his
yes.
So his comedy was very dated.
Okay.
Lots of a bit misogynist. A lot
of Take My Wife, Please.
A lot of doing Indian woman or not Indian. The voice of a nail person who does nails.
Ah, okay.
He did this whole thing where he was doing the voice of the person who does nails and his wife having a conversation. Neither of them speaking the same language. And you're just sitting there going, we're on a ship full of mostly employees from the Philippines. all with accents, and you're just kind of like, these people are kind of waiting on us hand and foot all week, and you're kind of making fun of how they talk, and it was very, it was very, it was like, it was
I
kind
can
of
see where that could.
You kind of just come away from it thinking, wow, he was funny, we laughed, but at the same time, it's like we didn't feel so good about ourselves.
A bit tone deaf is what you're saying.
Yeah, and the other thing is, he had a repeat performance on the last day, but one of his big bits from the end of it was he had this thing about how his wife wanted a cat and he wanted a dog. And so they decided to compromise, and they have a Chihuahua. And then he did this whole thing about, how the Chihuahuas choke. So he had this very funny thing where he was doing the imitation of a gagging Chihuahua. And, well, long story short, our dog, which was a Chihuahua mix, died 2 days before the end of the cruise. So we were like, okay, we're not going to see him again because there's no way we're going to watch him do a choking Chihuahua on stage when we were trying not to cry. But let's see. If I look at this listing here.
His name was Steve.
So you get this every day. This is the cruise campus. And it tells you everything about what the ship's doing that day.
His name is Steve, not a very good comedian.
Let's see. Steve McGrew.
Steve.
Never heard of him.
McGrew.
Was he in Sharknado?
Steve Mudflap McGrew, maybe? Does he? Yep, I think that's
Mudflap?
him. Steve Mudflap McGrew on the White Privilege tour was this the man? Colin?
Yeah, quite possibly.
Okay. So
if your stage name is Mudflap,
yep,
you got to strike against you right off the bat. Like you might as well call yourself like Steve Skidmark
so
McGrew, because
I want to find true reviews.
There's no such
So it was the first night. You got the comedian the first night. That was just going out of Seattle. Second day, we were just cruising. Third day, we were at Icy Strait Point in Alaska, where they sell crab, and that was a good. I actually didn't even realize that was a stop until like a week before we were. So we get up to Skagway, and that's where they have. That's where that was a big gold mining port back during the gold rush. And they have this train that goes up into the mountains. So that was a great trip. You go all the way up, and the snow was still there. I guess with the next couple of weeks, all the snow will melt off, but we were able to see the mountains covered with snow at top, and that was beautiful. And then we went to Juneau. Now, here's my big story thing. So in Juneau, we went on an excursion where we took a bus to this place called the Glacier Rainforest Gardens or something like that. It's this guy, basically this guy named Steve, and we know the guy's named Steve because the employees would like begin every sentence with, and then Steve did this, and then Steve did that, because basically it's a mountain that he put back in place after there was a big mudslide. So he like repaired the mudslide and created this. And he puts lots of flowers around, and you go on these super duper powered golf carts and go like nearly like I think it was a 72% grade going up this road. And they take you up to the top while they're doing the story of Steve, and then you get to the top, and then you can see everything around you. And then they take you back down, and so it's basically just a sightseeing tour where you learn all about Steve and see what the mountain actually looks like up close. And then the bus takes you over to Mendenhall Glacier, where you can actually see the actual glacier and that kind of thing. So that was beautiful. It was fun. But here's the thing: the weather, the entire cruise, was amazing. I mean, usually when you think Alaska, you're thinking cold and you're thinking rain. It did not rain, and the weather the entire time a lot of times was like low 70s, high 60s.
Okay.
So
nice.
It was just wonderful. But the people tell us when we're getting into the bus, okay, we're leaving. We're supposed to meet at 3:45. I think I got that time right. We'll just go with it. 3:45. But the bus is actually going to leave at 4. And I said, well, the bus is running a little bit late. And so our suggestion is that you don't get on the bus until 3:50. Because the bus isn't allowed to sit there in the parking lot running, and so the air is not going to be running. So we decide, we're just going to get on the bus. And apparently other people didn't get this message. And so it's an older bus. It has places in the ceiling where it's supposed to blow air down at you, but it also has vents along the side. Well, the vents up top aren't working. Big whoop. I mean, it's maybe 80 degrees in this bus. Maybe. Probably was not even that. But these two, so we got this one woman who starts going up, well, I was bored of no filter, and I just want to get going. I'm just like, why are you on vacation if you have no filter? Would you like me to be your filter? I'll happily sit here and go, maybe I shouldn't say anything. I should have a nice time instead. Do you need a filter? I can do that. Because apparently they didn't get the memo that we were supposed to leave at 4. They expected us to leave on the dot at 3:45. So apparently we're supposed to meet at 3:45, instantly teleport onto a bus and get going. So they're like, are we going to get on our fun excursion anytime soon? It's like, I'm looking at my phone. It is currently 4:02. We're 2 minutes late. So I actually spoke up. Amazingly enough, I actually spoke up and said, hey, we're 2 minutes late. We're supposed to leave at 4. We're not supposed to leave at 3:45. But then, and that woman kind of stopped yelling, but these two women behind me started yelling at the bus driver, bus driver, we don't have any air. We need air. It's like, and the bus driver is like, I've checked. The air is turned on. There's nothing else I can do. And the guy was like, well, you get us a different bus. I'm thinking, where is he going to get another bus? Okay. Is he just going to magically
let me see.
To a different bus too?
There's a bus.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the company has other buses, but we have to go to this garden place, go up and down a mountain, and then go from there to a glacier, see the glacier, and then get back to the ship with about half an hour to spare before the ship is actually going to leave dock. Where in that entire timeline are we getting a different bus with air conditioning? And like I said, it wasn't that hot. So we get to the garden, and so the guy was supposed to be like doing a narration as we were driving along, but when he started his narration, they started yelling at him again about the air conditioning not working. So he shut up. So we get to the garden, we go up and down the garden. My parents and I were on. There were 3 different super-powered golf carts going up the mountain. We were on the 3rd one because we saw that all the Type A annoying personalities were going to shove themselves on the golf cart A, and we're like, we're not going with them. So we had fun in golf cart C with all the other fun people who are just having a nice time on their vacation. So we get back down, get on the bus. The bus drives to the glacier. We have 1 hour. So between the time he lets us off and when we have to be picked up, we have 1 hour. If we're not back at the bus in an hour, we're going to have to get an Uber back to the ship. In fact, we saw somebody else who missed their bus. They had to get an Uber. But the 2 cranky women are like, what? Well, I'm just not even going to get off the bus. I'm not going to be left behind again. It's like, and then the other one's like,
again,
is there anywhere to get any food here? I was just like,
it sounds like you really had. Sounds like these 2 were winners, man. Were they? I gotta ask. Were they married? Were they single? Were they?
No, it was just 2 women. They were older, but they weren't
Okay.
that old.
Okay,
no,
I'm saying to myself, wow, their husbands are lucky men, or very, very smart that they stayed back on the ship. Said, go ahead, have fun. Maybe you'll get left.
Yeah. So my mom and I were walking down to the water's edge to take pictures of the glacier. And I saw somebody else there that was from our golf cart at the thing. I said, so as we started going down the little hill of Rocky Hill down to the lakeshore, I said to him, well, I'm going to go down here and see if I can find that McDonald's. And Mom said, yeah, Starbucks. And they laughed. It was good. So they were quiet on the way back. I think they got off the bus, but it's just, why are you guys on this excursion? They had no idea what they were doing. We were going to a glacier to get out and walk around and take pictures, and they didn't know where they were or why they were there. And they were not old enough to be, Alzheimer's or something. I have no idea.
Oh, you're never too young for Alzheimer's. That's what they say.
Why did you pay $100 each to be on this excursion that you have no idea what it's doing? Why were you on this cruise in the first place? Because everybody else we met all week long, especially the employees, were just wonderful people. So.
Well, I'm glad that you had a good time for the most part.
Oh, I had an entire time, except for the events at home. Everything was just great all week.
Well, that's good.
Good.
Now it's time to get back to work. You've had your fun. Now chained to the desk you are.
I have been the last 2 days. Whew.
So, all right. So, Mike, we talked a little bit about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I think now we have to talk about, because we do broadcast on Twitter. We are on there. I think we have to talk about Elon Musk and what's going on with him and Twitter, and I don't know, maybe even Snoop Dogg. I guess.
Well, so there's another development here. So apparently, everybody knows Elon Musk made the offer to buy Twitter, take it private. And it's kind of stalled because the last I had heard, Musk said, yeah, you got to prove to me that no more than 5% of all the accounts are legit. Like, he's kind of pushing the theory that, yeah, there are a lot of bots on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I think we've all dealt with accounts that were like, yeah, you're a bot.
Yeah. I
don't know where you're from, but you're a bot.
Mm-hmm.
So Snoop.
Well, I mean, hell, we've gotten propositioned to add followers, for money.
Adding followers. Yeah, so and those followers are not necessarily legit. I'm talking about accounts that actually, like bot accounts that reply. I call them sack hangers because they're just hanging from the sacks of like every politician out there. It seems those are the key people that you'll see the account. They have no followers, or all the followers are bots, and all they do is comment the same thing, rah rah sis boom bah to. Okay.
Yeah,
anyway.
they parrot the message. Yep.
So Snoop comes up and says, "For shizzle my nizzle, I won't buy Twitter." So what does Musk say? You bring the fire, I'll bring the smoke. Something about Elon Musk and Snoop Dogg together running a company, and Snoop Dogg is somewhat of a brilliant man in a different sense than Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Snoop, you don't get to be the face of, what is it, with Martha.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get Tostitos commercials if you're not a genius. You don't get, what is that? What's the carbonate, sparkling, to make your own water?
Yeah.
SodaStream.
SodaStream.
You don't get
Right.
You don't get that if you ain't some kind of a genius.
I mean,
Snoop is like a crackhead version of Shaq when it comes to endorsing stuff, right? He'll endorse any damn thing if you write him a check.
Snoop Dogg is worth $150 million.
Not bad for somebody from Compton.
No.
I mean, the man admits he was a gangster. He was a Crip. Maybe still is.
Figure he didn't start to make real money until he was, in his late 20s.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Snoop being in charge of Twitter, man.
And then the latest is that Tesla has filed paperwork for Elon Musk's new restaurant in Hollywood.
Because that's what you do. Open a restaurant.
Well,
it's going to be an old school drive-in with roller skates and rock and roll.
Once you've sold flamethrowers, that's what you do next. It's like, hey, real flame grilled burgers with our flamethrowers.
Oh, and 2 movie screens. So the idea is you come in with your Tesla, you plug it in to charge,
and you watch a movie.
They feed you, and you watch a 30-minute.
I gotta say, that's not a horrible idea. If I have to sit and wait for my car to charge anyway, I might as well get fed and watch a show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than just sitting in your car doing nothing.
True.
So,
I don't know. Like, I don't see. Does anybody actually think that Twitter is going to be sold now? Like, the stock tanked, so basically Musk's offer is like 66%
he just
above the stock price now.
He just added another $6 million to the offer, I think. I just read that.
It's $6 billion. It's not new money. It's he had one of the initial loans that he had secured. He allowed that one to lapse because he got a different one instead.
Oh, okay.
So no, I fully assume that it's going to happen.
Yeah. Musk doesn't for all of his foibles. When he does set his mind to something, he does follow through. Wow. In spectacular fashion.
And maybe not on schedule.
Maybe not on schedule. Maybe not for the better. But he does follow through in one way or another. Whether it's calling an engineer a pedophile or whatever, he does do it, and he does it to the end.
What? Can become.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Whoa. What the hell is eating up all my freaking... Ugh. Hold on. I don't know why, but all of a sudden my machine's going crazy. So let me fix that. All right. Okay, are you two still there?
Yep.
Okay. Mike? Can you hear me? Okay, 1 minute. All right, gotcha. Okay, that should help.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
Batteries in the cordless, my mic pack died.
Okay.
Or we're dying. So.
They died at the same time my CPU decided to fritz out, so wasn't sure what it was. Okay. And then we got time for another article here. So let's talk about this entitled Millennial. 26-year-old stay-at-home, not mom, not wife, girlfriend, all right, posted a TikTok about what her typical day looks like. Sorry, that was my machine probably, if it was odd. What's the matter, Mike?
No, not odd. No, smell. But I think the rechargeable batteries all of a sudden smelled like they were like burning. The ones I just took out of my pack smelled like they were.
A
little.
Before we get to this, a quick aside on fires. So my wife yells for me the other day. I was working from home on Monday. She yells for me saying, "Hey, I need help." And I'm like, okay, well, she doesn't say that very often, especially in that tone. So I go running upstairs. I see the box. We go to Sam's Club, Costco, same thing, right? We have this giant box of cling wrap. I see it in the sink with water running on it, and the kitchen is full of smoke. And she goes,
okay.
I don't know what happened. I heard crackling. I came out of the laundry room, and there's fire everywhere. And she goes, I must have hit the burner knob when I walked past it, and this was sitting on top of the burners.
Oh, God.
And so she's like, I just don't want the smoke alarms going off. So I open up all the windows, open up the garage door, turn on all the fans, get the place airing out. It had burned through the bottom of the box, and because it's an electric stove, so it had melted concentric circles through the roll of saran wrap.
Oh.
And she goes, well, if it's any good, we can still keep it. I'm like, it's not good. It's melted all the halfway through.
That's wow.
Yeah, all I could think of was that Farmer's commercial where the dog jumped up and caught the pizza box on fire. So, yeah.
Well, that'll teach you to keep stuff on top of the stove.
Well, sometimes there ain't enough counter space.
Listen, I had neighbors across the street. They used to stack their clothes on top of, when they were done drying them, they'd stack them on top of the dryer, which is all well and good until your dryer decides to fritz out.
Yeah.
And guess what? The house burned down because of that.
Well, yeah. It's like people who don't ever empty the lint trap. You know? So, anyway,
yeah.
getting back to this entitled 26-year-old. So, this 26-year-old woman claims in one video that her boyfriend, who she calls Harry, encouraged her to stay home and enjoy her life without working, and agreed to pay for her hair appointments, manicures and pedicures, lashes, Botox, laser hair removal, clothes, and makeup.
Nice.
According to a comment in a recent video, Harry is a financial advisor and an investor who owns some real estate. Okay, so Harry is her sugar daddy, is what that means. Because at that point, he's not a boyfriend. He is a sugar daddy. Unless you're married. If you're married, it's acceptable, I guess, especially if you have children. So here's her day. Here's her typical day. I put on this little tracksuit, and I went to get my lashes done. I cleaned the bathroom. Okay, first bit of work. Watched a little bit of Selling Sunset, and I organized our little pantry. Now, when she says she organized her pantry, it is the size of a mini fridge. All right? That's the size of their pantry. She also cooked 2 heart-shaped cakes. but she says she's not very good at cooking. And
Gotta go. Bitch gotta go. No, this guy's just stupid.
When Harry came home, she poured herself a glass of wine and made the two of them dinner. Afterwards, she took a bath and did some journaling. Boy, that is a full day. I can just imagine that diary. I can just imagine that journal.
She had time to Instagram.
Yeah.
During all of that, right?
Dear diary, today was so full. Lashes lady spoke in a language I didn't understand. I feel like she was making fun of me. You know, and of course, she tags all of her videos with housewife life. You know, like, no.
You know, you're not. First of all, you're not a wife.
No.
You could throw your ass out.
Yeah.
Second of all, there is no way in hell that. Man, I understand. There are some days where Kim's not feeling well, so she'll take a nap and she won't do much. I get it, but that's not every goddamn day.
Yeah. It's like when my wife's parents were elderly and needed someone to take care of them, yes, I said, hey, quit your job. You don't like it anyway. We can afford to live on one salary, and they need you to take care of them so that we don't drain their life savings, put them in the poorhouse, or have to put them into a home that they don't want to go to. It makes more sense for you to be there to take care of them. And then after they passed, well, we still had kids in school, and we still had my daughter in school. We still had a grandkid that we were taking care of at that time. I'm like, hey, rather than paying daycare or whatever, which would take up your entire check, why don't you just stay home, continue to stay home, take care of them? And then we had more grandchildren after they were out, and I'm like, okay, well, rather than the kids spending their money on daycare, which would wipe out half of their paycheck, you can just take care of them. I know that you want to do it anyway. You know, I'm like, it makes sense. And we can still do that because I'm at that point in my career where, luckily, I make enough to support us. And it doesn't mean that we're flush with cash. We still live paycheck to paycheck because of the decisions that we made, but we don't regret them either. So, you know, her time with the kids is, she understands that is, you know, that's a benefit that she gets because of this arrangement. But she also cooks, you know, when I'm working from home Mondays and Fridays now, I get breakfast, I get lunch, I get dinner. Every night she makes dinner for us from scratch. You know, laundry's kept up, house is kept up. You know, she works her butt off at home. But yeah, like you said, there's days where she doesn't feel great, or back hurts, or whatever, and so she needs to take a day off. And I don't give her crap for that because it's rare, and she feels bad when she does it. You know.
Yeah, and to be clear, I'm not even talking about a day off. I'm talking about just I'm gonna do what I got to do, and then leave me alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but she's not saying,
but
well,
but sitting around. First of all, let's be real clear about something from this picture that you posted about this.
Oh yeah, she started her day off with some stretches.
So, she don't strike me as sunshine here. And what I mean by sunshine, if you ever saw a movie called Harlem Nights, which was with Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor, and Red Fox, and Della Reese, and who else was in it? Danny Aiello was in it.
Yep.
But I don't think it was Vivica Fox, but there was Della Reese played a madam, and they were trying to get the one guy, and she said, I have this girl who, when she spreads her legs, it's just like sunshine.
Yep.
This is not sunshine.
Yeah, let me.
This looks like the kind of woman that she sits there with her Chardonnay and you want to beat the ever-loving hell out of her the minute she starts opening her mouth because she's so entitled.
Let me just put it this way. Let me put it in plain English. If I was to walk up to her, what I would say is, you aren't hot enough for this treatment. Plain English. You not hot enough for this. All right? You need to tell him to do one less laser treatment and one more boob job. Maybe some cheek fillers or something.
Stay-at-home girlfriend. Like, how long are you going to put up with that? What is the point? You stay-at-home girlfriend. If you are not married and you're no sugar daddy and or hooker, okay?
Well, here's the thing. Here's what she's not understanding. You know, an actual housewife. I mean, that's standard thing. I mean, it's a bit from the past. But the thing about being a housewife, though, is that you are legally a wife, and that means that you do have half of the money. And if you decide, if your hubby decides to drop you, kick you out of the house, well, you're still going to be okay, because you're going to have half the money. You're going to be able to go off and rebuild your life. When you're a house girlfriend, if he decides to kick you out, you're out, and you have nothing. So that's a really bad position to put yourself in.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she don't care because her Insta followers will support her. I guarantee you, if she got thrown out by this guy, she'd be putting up a GoFundMe within 30 seconds. She wouldn't even get her car out the driveway. She'd have a goddamn GoFundMe up. That's assuming.
There's a question there also. If she is posting stuff up on YouTube, anyway, that's not. That is not no effort.
Well,
so it depends. I haven't watched any of these videos. I have no idea what the quality is. But if she's done any work on the videos, editing them and whatever, then that is actually a job.
Yeah, but at that point, you say you're an influencer, not a stay-at-home girlfriend.
And
yes.
Once again, we are going to state for the record here, youth of the world, aspiring to be an influencer is not a career choice.
It's not a job.
Okay?
I'm going to tell you.
What are you going to be when you grow up? I'm going to be a social media influencer, though. Frick you are. You better go learn to solder pipes or something.
I'm going to tell you.
You're going to get a real job first.
I'm going to tell you the same person that says, I'm going to be the new LeBron. You better go to school.
She has 15,000 followers on TikTok.
Oh, that is not enough. That is not enough.
Cashmere lash extensions every 3 weeks. What?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to be the next LeBron. That's not a good goal. I want to be the next Scottie Pippen. That's a goal.
What? Because
find yourself the next Michael Jordan or LeBron and be his sidekick. Sure, go for that.
No, it's still an unlikely goal.
Okay, so I am going to be very honest with you two.
Yes.
I can't remember what these two movies are that we're supposed to be talking about.
Oh, okay.
I've watched both of them.
So,
yeah, you know what? I had a slight panic attack this afternoon. Like, oh my God, did I have to watch movies for tonight, or did you already?
So, Don't Look Up and Freaks, You're One of Us were our two movies. They were both Netflix. One was a Netflix original. So we can talk about now. First of all, do you guys, Mike? Did you watch them both?
So I did watch them both.
Okay.
Full disclosure, I watched Don't Look Up when it came out.
Okay.
I did not. I had all intentions of going back to rewatch it and take notes on it. I did not.
That's fine.
So I'm
That's
gonna.
fine.
But I've seen it, so I can kind of.
All right, Colin, do you remember watching either of them?
Yeah, I'm trying to refine the One of Us one though, because apparently there's.
It's Freaks. You're One of Us.
Yeah,
It was
but the one I
with,
just found is not the one I saw, so there must be another one.
It was with the guy from.
It was a German dubbed movie.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. It was an English dubbed movie.
Did I watch the wrong freaking movie then?
Well, let's talk about
Mike,
Freaks. You're One of Us.
Mike, you watched the one I watched. I'm trying to find
with the kid that was in Speed Racer and Into the Wild and Alpha Dog. What was his?
The two of us watched Freaks. Apparently, Shaggy watched Freaks. You're One of Us, which is German.
Well, these are going to be two completely different movie reviews, which I think will be interesting. So you watched a mind-bending dystopian cyberpunk, probably filmed in English originally.
Yes. It wasn't cyberpunk, but yes.
The one we watched had... What is this guy's name? Why am I...
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just a second. Let me...
The one you watched had Emily Hirsch.
Emil Hirsch.
Yeah, Emil Hirsch, yes. Bruce Dern, and Lexi Kolker.
Yeah.
Which
is the one we were supposed to watch, because when we first picked the movies, I remember us saying it had Emil Hirsch in it.
Well, now, wait a second. That's not the one that's linked.
Yeah, it is.
On the spreadsheet?
Yeah. Because I clicked on it, and that's exactly where it brought.
Well, because that's not what... Hold on. I want to know which one of us is right, because this is important, damn it. This is the most important thing in the world. So if I look at the sheet... Oops, hold on.
The sheet says it's 810-31738.
Okay, but
hidden away by her eccentric father, a mysterious young girl uncovers frightening truths when she starts to make contact with the outside world. That's what you hover over that link.
I just read Freaks. And then I guess I filled in the rest because I had... Maybe, did I put Freaks One of Us as one of the other movies on the list?
I don't know.
Why did you think that, I mean, one of our rules is we don't like dubbed movies.
No, we'll watch a dubbed movie as long as it's dubbed in English.
We will.
No, we won't watch subtitled movies. But we'll do dubbed movies because we did the one, and it was really good.
All right. Okay, you're right.
Which confused me at first because I didn't know that it was dubbed. So I started, and I'm like, I'm not going to fucking read this movie. And then I noticed, hey, it's in English. I can change the audio to English. And so I watched it. So, all right. So we're going to persevere, and we're going to do this movie. You guys will do yours, and then I'll do mine. So and this will be interesting.
Shaggy's official rating is going to be done fucked up.
Yep.
Because
that's fine. DNFU.
We didn't review these last time to give him time to watch it.
Well, I hadn't watched either of them last time.
True.
So, I don't know why I even looked at the damn sheet. So, anyway. All right, so Colin, I think we're going to go to you first, and then Mike,
okay.
And then we'll finish with me, and I'll give you my review of the movie, which I'm sure is going to be enlightening to both of you. So,
yeah.
All right, Colin, it's going to be a unique take. Colin, we're going to start with we're going to start with Freaks.
Okay.
You're not one of us. So take it away, Colin.
Freaks is it's an interesting little movie with a very small cast. Basically, think X-Men where all of the X-Men have a similar trait where they tend to cry blood from their eyes, so that the public can identify them. But what's interesting is that every generation of these enhanced people are getting more and more powerful. So, maybe when it started, that wasn't really going into, but, maybe you have some, minor abilities. But, so this movie main character is this young girl who is so powerful that she's basically nuclear level danger. So the general public have become so scared of these people that they're basically killing anybody who has blood in their eyes on sight. So this young girl and her father are hiding out in this house, and there is no background given. So this is one of those movies where it's kind of like a Twilight Zone type plot of you trying to figure out, has this girl been kidnapped? Is the father insane? What's going on here? And I guess I already spoiled that for you, but I'm sorry. It's already pretty much in the title, so there you go. I thought all the acting was good. I thought it was a lot of fun. I didn't think this was going to be a bad movie, so my general rule is if I have a movie that I thought I was going to hate and then I turn out to love it, that's where I put the shnikes. This wasn't that. I thought this looked pretty good from the beginning. But I am going to give it the I'll give it the SEG.
All right. Okay. Mike, you're up next. Tell us what you thought of Freaks.
Okay, so the movie is starting out pretty damn creepy. It's kind of like Boy in the Bubble meets The Village. Like, where's the lie about why they're staying inside? It didn't catch on to me why his eyes started bleeding and why is he so calm about his eyes bleeding. And, okay, wait a minute. Am I tripping here? Because what just happened with the power suddenly coming on? And what's this about a drone strike on the house? I mean, I'm looking to the M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong twist in this movie. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with the bleeding eyes. Like, this is bothering me. Like, it didn't... When you watch it, there's nothing that really gives off what is causing this bleeding eye thing. And now there's kind of like time jumping and stuff. The mom is back, even though she thought she was dead. And I am literally more confused than ever about what in the actual hell is going on with this movie. It is 10 a.m. on my day off, but I have not been drinking. So I don't know what is going on with this movie. Now they're talking about an attack in Dallas, and it's starting to turn into an X-Men us versus them thing. And this movie is really starting to get dark. Like, really dark. Like, Heroes meets Saw kind of dark. I don't know about Saw. Whatever. See, the ending of this movie certainly set up for a sequel. Unless this was actually a pilot that didn't get picked up to series. The latter does make sense, even though it's not true, but the latter makes sense because the bigger name celebrities like Bruce Dern and Emil Hirsch all got killed off. Grace Park. Making this series cheaper in the long run. But I'm not sure if I would have watched a series based on this movie because, well, basically it's just a darker version of Heroes. So Puke the Shnikes as a standalone movie, I'm giving this one a smirk. It was interesting to sit and try and figure out what was going on. But, of course, any movie that deals with superpowers can go any number of ways, right? This one took a darker turn, kind of like how The Boys on Amazon, if you've watched that, how that got dark all of a sudden. or deals with some pretty dark topics. But I do like any movie like this that is not afraid to kill the main characters for the purposes of advancing the story. So I'll give it a smirk.
All right. All right, my turn. So I have no idea what the hell movie those two watched. It didn't line up to anything that I watched. I must have had a different filter on somehow. Because what I watched starred a bunch of people that you won't know at all. And it was a little confusing because if you heard me say it at the beginning, I didn't understand anything they said because it was all in German. And it was subtitled in English, which was handy. At least I could read. It starts out with a little girl cowering in a corner of a school, and you see a bloody desk in the parking lot. And then you find out that this little girl is responsible for that bloody desk in the parking lot and the giant hole in the wall of the school. And then you suddenly flash forward about 20 years. And you just see this now woman who's married and has a son going to this like Denny's restaurant, but they serve beer because it's in Germany. So why wouldn't you serve beer in a Denny's type place? It serves steak burgers. But yet every day that you see her go to work, you see her pop two little blue pills. Now I assume they're not Viagra because they wouldn't do much good for her if they were Viagra. But she pops these two little blue pills, and then she goes and sees her psychologist, and then then she goes home, rinse and repeat. But bills are piling up because they're not getting paid, and so, till all of a sudden, she runs into this bum asking for chicken scraps when she's taking out the trash at the German knockoff Denny's, and he says, "Hey, you're one of us." Thus, the subtitle of the movie, "Freaks, You're One of Us." And he goes, "I can tell. Why do you think they make you take those pills? It's not to make you feel better. It's to hide who you really are. Stop taking them and find your inner self." And, of course, she brushes him off a little bit. And but anyway, while she's working there, she works with, I'm going to call him, Mike's favorite term, a dollar store Tom Holland. All right? His name is Tim Oliver Schultz. He plays a guy named Elmer in the show, otherwise known as Mr. Electro. Later on in the show, you find out. So we learn that Cornelia Groschel, who plays Wendy, who's the one I've been talking about here, she has superpowers, and these blue pills have been suppressing the superpowers. She has super strength, and all she needs to do is stop taking the pills for that strength to come out and be useful. So when she's attacked by muggers after she stopped taking her pills, she kicks one about 2 blocks away, and she throws another one through a car, and then she's so happy she tells Elmer, dollar store Tom Holland, about it. He stops taking them, realizes that he is essentially Jamie Foxx from Spider-Man 2. All right. But the problem is he has anger issues. All right. And his anger issues basically come from his father's abandonment or disinterest in his life, and only interest in his own words, F-Buddy, who reminds me a lot of Megan Thee Stallions. A very busty black woman. So I'm surprised given the German audience. But yeah. So anyway, this all goes about, and turns out the government's suppressing them, and it's a good, interesting take on the hero theme and the mutant theme. All right, but of course, Elmer goes to the dark side. He wants to show everybody that they're superior, and then Wendy has to knock the crap out of him and eventually electrocute him in their pool. Interesting show. Like I said, it's an overdub, so it's the lips don't line up or anything like that. A little bit slow at times, but it does remind me of what we're typical with Germans. I'm going to give it a meh. Really, that's where it lines up to for me. So not quite as good as my two co-hosts. Like I said, I didn't get the same message out of the movie as they did, but it's going to be a solid meh for me.
So I would like to point out that I put a note to remind us what happened here.
Okay.
In the rating sheet, and it says Shaggy watched the wrong damn movie and sat through a dubbed German movie. Wound up giving the German piece of crap a meh. So we shall never forget this. This will be your indicted.
All right. I'm good with that. All right. Next up, a movie that
before we do that,
Yeah.
real quick, I do want to point out, I went and I looked this up. So on IMDb, the estimated budget for this movie was $2,000.
For which movie?
And
My movie?
For the one that the real movie Freaks that Colin and I watched.
Oh.
The estimated budget was $2,000 Canadian, which is like $1.50.
Yeah.
It made $368,000 at the box office, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you're talking about costing $2,000,
I wonder what the budget was for my movie.
a pack of parliaments.
Now, they don't get parliaments in Germany. I really want to know.
A pack of Das Wiener Schnitzel.
Because it was done in coordination with Netflix. It was actually a Netflix. It was a collab. So I'm really curious what the budget was. Because if it was more than yours, then boy, there's a problem.
What we're lucky on is because Freaks is actually the name of one of the most famous movies of all time. And we're just lucky that Shaggy didn't watch that one.
You mean the 1937 version of the movie? Yeah,
1932.
I think I would have figured that one out.
Or we're lucky he didn't watch Eight-Legged Freaks.
Now I know. Yeah, I probably would have watched that one.
So, for those who aren't aware, the 1932 Freaks was a movie that starred actual circus sideshow performers. So the movie starred literal freaks.
Actually, my movie, just so that you know, was an unofficial homage to the 1932 film Freaks.
Oh, okay.
So,
unofficial homage, meaning once we realized we've made a piece of crap, we are going to do something to promote it by saying we were inspired by the 1932 movie Freaks.
and its famous chant of one of us. I can't remember that. It goes into weird syllables at that point. If you've never seen that movie, it's worth watching once in your life. Literally, don't watch it again.
See, now you keep saying one of us, and damn it, now I'm. So this is how sad my life has gotten at some
Du
point.
bist ein von uns.
Has anyone? Do you guys know Dr. Bronner's Castile soaps?
Yeah.
Like the magic soap? Okay. If you ever read the label, it's like an entire novel written on the freaking label of these bottles, but there's a part on there where it says like one of us, or something. Anyway, great. So now I'm using Cult soap. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, next movie. Don't look.
Gooba Gaga Gaba Gobble was the chant.
All right, our other movie was Don't Look Up, another Netflix original. This time starring some decent star power. You know, a decent amount. We're gonna go in the same order though. So Colin, we're gonna go with you first. Don't Look Up. What do you think?
Don't Look Up. Yeah, so I have to remember this movie. And the movie is so long, there's a lot to remember. So there was another movie several years ago, Idiocracy. And this is a less funny remake of Idiocracy, I think, in many ways. But resetting Idiocracy, instead of being in the future where everybody's stupid, it just gets reset to now when everybody's stupid. So the world's going to get hit by a comet, but the female Donald Trump president stand-in character doesn't want anybody to know because it's going to interfere with her dealing with the Supreme Court nomination and an election. And then the stuff goes out and nobody cares. And you just look at this going, it's a fun joke. I mean, this, if there's a Saturday Night Live sketch, it'd be interesting. But how long is this movie? Is this 2.5 hours long? It was
2:18.
2:18. Okay, so this is a 20-hour long movie that just goes on and on and on, and you're just going, I got the point 2 hours ago. Can we please get to the end? Please get to the end. There's way too many plot holes to name. Maybe Mike has some written down. If he does, I'll enjoy the list. But there's just, it's just, I don't know. It's just, you look at it's like, why did they make this script? This script needed at least 2 more revisions before this could be a movie. Because this is technically a real movie with actual actors, I am going to give this a VERP.
A VERP from Colin. All right, Mike.
This is going to be another cobbler, isn't it? God.
So far, it's going that direction. We don't know how it's going to end up.
This movie.
You love
I
this
love
movie?
this movie.
Okay.
I didn't take any notes. Like I said, okay, so I said in the beginning that I had watched this when it first came out. And I had all intentions of going back and rewatching it and take notes, but you know what? It didn't get to that. Were there... Okay, Jonah Hill, I wanted to throw punch his character. I'll give you that. I thought he was like the most annoying Hunter Biden-esque character that there ever was. I didn't draw any kind of political, like current political, because I put them as the same type of government as like Iron Sky. Like I didn't draw any political, like current day comparisons, other than in Iron Sky the president looked like Sarah Palin, and that was the joke. I thought this. Yes, the science, I didn't expect, it's a Netflix movie. I didn't expect the science to be right on. If anything, I had such a good time watching this movie. I thought Leonardo DiCaprio's character could have dealt with a kick in the nuts a couple of times. There were some scenes where, yes, we're going to wait. They had them waiting forever to talk to like the vice president or secretary of state or some government official, and they had him stuck in a room with water and like saltine crackers, and that's all they had, and they're waiting there for hours only to get turned away because they ran out of time. I'm like, this seems like so government. I get it. The whole thing about the entire world not looking up, like that become the campaign point. Yeah, okay, I get that. That's stupid as hell. But we've seen how many of these natural disaster type movies where they say they don't want to incite panic, so they don't tell the world at all. They tell them nothing is wrong. Armageddon comes to mind. 2012 comes to mind. Geostorm comes to mind. And those are just all 3 off the top of my head where they didn't tell the world. deep impact, they told the world, and what happened? There wound up being like riots and stuff. So maybe they were right in not telling anybody. They took it to the nth degree, but now what I will say also, I didn't think they had to make Jennifer Lawrence so emo in this movie, and that kind of bothered me as well. Timothy Chalamet, I don't think he needed to be in this movie at all, but there he was, so okay. I gave it an SEG. I thought it was a fun movie to watch. Realistic? No, but it never was supposed to be a drama. It was a comedy. So,
all right, there you go.
Oh, here we go. I'm just gonna sit back now and wait.
All right. So I just love that I can still watch Mike's reaction. So I agree with Colin. Movie's way too long. All right. Now I'm going to go through some of my favorite quotes in the movie, and they're not going to be in the order that they appear. All right. And these are my favorite moments in the movie. Okay. So, Kate DiBiase, you guys, the truth is way more depressing. They are not even smart enough to be as evil as you give them credit for. Brilliant line. Great. Whoever wrote that line, gold star. All right. Dr. Randall, Mindy, we really did have everything, didn't we? I mean, when you think about it. All right. Emotional line, drama, that goes towards Colin's point, not a comedy. All right. Kate DiBiase, unless you assholes are taking me to the Batcave, fuck you for putting this hood on me. Goes to Mike's point, comedy. All right. Congressman Tennant, towards the end of the movie, if you went after the credits, there were 2 post-credit scenes. What is that thing? This is just right after the president is attacked by an alien bird. Peter Urshwell, I believe that's called a Bronterock, making stuff up out of his ass. All right. Now let me talk about his character real quick. All right. It was funny the first time. They went back to that well way too often. All right. I was good with that character the first time because what they were doing was they were taking Zuckerberg and Musk, putting them together and pissing us off. I was fine with that once. I don't need it more than that. There was way too much of it. It was just irritating. Now, one that isn't on here that I liked was when the kids ask me where their dad is, I'll just tell them he's effing the lady on television. That was one of the best quotes. But that moment in that movie, it was drama, not comedy. There was too much of this movie that didn't know what it was. Was it a drama? Was it a comedy? It's not a dramedy. So, it was confused. It was very confused. And that's why I think it was difficult to watch, especially with as long as it was, because you didn't know which direction they were going to go. You were in this lurch. And, so that's the reason why I didn't like it, is because I didn't know what it was. I could read the description on Netflix and they could tell me what they thought it was, but it wasn't either. So I got to give it a verb because it was too long to watch for being so confused. So confused that I just have to. It was a pain in the butt. I agree, Mike. They were poking fun, and I didn't relate it to politics in current day at all. But good Lord, pick a lane. Pick a lane.
So, okay, I'm remembering now my actual problem. So real quick. Not so quick, we'll see. So it was Steve Jobs as well. So it's a combination of Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, a little bit of Zuckerberg, but not as much. And Lex Luthor himself, Bezos.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. they were making a lot of fun there of SpaceX with a completely invalidated Boeing-led takedown of the way the SpaceX works is you spend a little bit of money and you build a rocket and then you blast it off and you figure out what's wrong with it and then you do it again and you keep doing it, as opposed to Boeing and their friends over at ULA who are like, okay, U.S. government, give us $12 quadrillion and we'll sit looking at our navels for 20 years and really think about it and then build a rocket and it'll work the first time because we spent $20 quadrillion for 20 years thinking about it, as opposed to let's just build something real quick and see what happens. And that's what they're making fun of there. That's the Boeing thing of, they're just going to blast a bunch of rockets off, then most of them are just not going to make it. That was annoying. But here was my central problem with the idea of, okay, there's this giant comet or asteroid, wherever it was, and they figure out that it's full of elements that are rare. So we're going to let it hit the Earth so that we can be rich with all of these rare elements. Okay? That's not how it works. Meaning, if you found an entire mountain of gold up in space, and you managed to get the gold to Earth, you're not rich. You now have a useless mountain of gold that is worth 0 because now we have a lot of gold. The moment you have a lot of stuff, that lot of stuff isn't worth anything anymore because we have plenty of it. So the idea that these people are going to be okay with allowing this giant asteroid / comet to hit the Earth so they can be rich with all of these precious elements just didn't make any sense to me. And since that took up so much of the movie, I just sat there going, this is just stupid.
Yes, I do remember that plot point. And yeah, that was... They did spend a lot too much time. The whole...
I will say, the ending of the movie, I love everything at the end of the movie. The whole them traveling cross country and going home and having a nice dinner before they all die, that was great. The rich people ending up on a far planet millions of years later.
I did love
again,
that
was good.
I did love that the cryopods didn't have names; they had corporation names. I don't know if anybody noticed that small detail, but
I think if more of the movie had been like that at the end.
All right, time to pick movies for the next show.
All right, so are we doing...
I got out of the spreadsheet, so I can't be accused of rigging it.
All right, so here's my question. Are we doing a real movie and...
Did we have time to separate the real movies yet, or no?
Well, I got 3
okay.
that are pulled out.
Let's just do the regular. Let's just do it the regular way, since there's only 3. If there was like more variety to it.
All right. Well, then,
unless there's one that you really want to watch, unless there's a movie you really want to watch.
Okay, so we'll just say 1 to 55.
Okay. $16.
Okay, it's still here. It's on Netflix. It's called Friendsgiving.
All right, and yep.
Hold on. Okay. All right.
It's 2020, so it's fairly recent. Next is 36.
36. There actually is no 36. The sheet numbers go from 35 to 37. So somebody jump.
Okay.
Up or down? Up or down? Up or down?
Up.
Down.
Up. Up, down. Pick another one. I'm not picking between these two movies.
54.
Run the numbers again. 54. 54 moves us to the real movies. This is Project Power
Oh, okay.
on
good.
Netflix.
I kind of wanted to watch that anyway. Good deal. That's Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Okay, so I have to. Before I was struggling trying to figure out what the new show that I'm semi-obsessed with now is, and it's actually on HBO Max. It's called The Time Traveler's Wife. It is a series now, based off of the same book. It's only been 2 episodes. I am hooked. I am 100% hooked.
Okay.
And I love the fact that during one of the promos for the next episode, there's 2 episodes. For episode 3, the main character says, remind you, this isn't the story of the time traveler. This is the story of the time traveler's wife.
Okay. Interesting.
So based off of the calendar, I believe the next show is June 6th.
Yes, I believe so.
Yes, luckily we're completely missing Memorial Day.
Yay, because I got invited to a barbecue. So, yippee. All right. Well, with that said, we want to thank everybody for tuning in and checking out the show. If you are new to the show, don't forget you can subscribe to all of our social media channels at PTR Radio on your favorite place, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, anywhere out there, really. You can also check us out on the website, ptrradio.com. That's where you can find out information on how to subscribe to the podcast so that if you, by chance, miss the live show and you want to make sure that you never miss an episode, you can configure your favorite device to download the audio version of the show. And that way you're always going to be in the know. I want to thank everybody that is subscribed currently. I think we got over 600 subscribers right now and always looking to grow that. So make sure that you tell all your friends about it and that you just help spread the word about the show. So if you've enjoyed what you heard, make sure that you tell everybody, hey, these 3 guys, they do know what they're talking about. They are sexy as hell. And, they are really the guys that should be in charge of everything. In fact, I think with the elections that have come to a close and with the ones that are going to be coming up here shortly, I think maybe in the next episode, we're going to talk about our platform for our run as a throuple for president coming up in the 2024 election. We can talk about the platform that we're going to put forward, and we're going to talk about things that we're going to push for that we believe will unite this country no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Red, white, black, purple, green. We'll tell you all about the things that we think you'll be able to get behind no matter what side you're on or against or for or 6. So don't forget to tune in next show. That's a week from Monday. You guys got anything else?
I got nothing.
Nothing? All right. Folks, I'm Shaggy.
I'm Colin.
I'm Mike the 8 Man.
Sick of forking this, folks. We are done. Later.